So just in case you're having trouble using that that solubility simulation, here's what it would look like. So if you've been looking at some of the solubility stuff, you're going to see that solubility is related to how something dissolves. Um, so if I take a bunch of water and I put a little bit of salt in it and I stir it up, what's going to happen to the salt? Well, the salt's going to dissolve. When something dissolves, what's going to happen is its molecules are kind of going to break apart a little bit. Sometimes even the atoms themselves will break apart. Well, the molecule will break down, so the atoms float around on their own. And you can see that in here. Now, this is just regular salt. This is 1 sodium and 1 chloride. What's going to happen if I add too much salt to the water? Like, will water just dissolve the salt forever? Well, salt's really good at dissolving in water, but you might notice that the more I add, there's going to come a point where it's just not going to dissolve anymore. It's just saturated. The word is saturated, which means too much stuff has dissolved in it. It's not going to dissolve anymore. Now, if I added more water, I might be able to, hello, add some more water. Thank you. If I added some more water, I might be able to dissolve some more salt. But there's like a ratio of salt to water that's like the most I can do. So let's drain this out real fast. Bye. So when we say solubility, what we're talking about is how much water it would take to dissolve a certain amount of something. So they would say a certain number of grams of salt could dissolve in a certain number of milliliters of water. Now, not everything dissolves at the same rate. So if we look at different kinds of salts, in chemistry, you learn that a salt is not like table salt is sodium chloride, but there are other salts out there, some of them that are not salts that you actually want to eat, like copper iodide. Copper iodide is 1 copper and 1 iodine, and it will dissolve in water as well. But if you look at it, it doesn't dissolve as well as salt does. This would say it has a lower solubility. Whereas salt, as we said all, salt can dissolve a lot more in water. It has a higher solubility. That's not something that we talked about in class. It's something that sometimes comes up and sometimes doesn't. So this year we ended up not talking about it a whole lot, but you can test the solubility of things at home. It's very simple. Figure out find a substance that may or may not dissolve in water. Put a little bit of it in water and see how much you have to add before it stops dissolving. You can do that with water and sugar or water and salt. You can even find things that are not soluble. There are some things out there that are just not soluble at all. And like flour, even if you mix it into the water, eventually it'll all sink to the bottom. So that's what this is all about. It also gets into some advanced chemistry stuff. So if you have a chance to play around with it, it's kind of fun. But that's all we needed to talk about with solubility.